Welcome to the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild Skills Builder.
Hi, my name is Wesley Meyer. I'm one of the instructors for basic woodworking and intermediate woodworking, and I might have had some of you guys for the toy class too. I've been helping out with that for a few years. I was asked to think of a skill builder to do, and Inlay was one of the things that I have been very interested in over the last couple of years, and I thought I'd share some of the things that I've learned doing that, trying to do with different various projects. So today we're going to go over three different types of setups or different styles of inlay on there. First of all, we're going to start off with the very easiest one that I used on this project right here. And then I had a few picture frames over here. Maybe everybody can see. And then we have that picture frame up there. These were just made with a table saw. So as basic and as easy as you can get it, I just ran these through and then just put a groove on a table saw and then set up the inlay on here. So now there's a couple different ways that you can create your small inlay on here. One of the ways that I personally found the easiest is I'll rip this out and rough it out on the bandsaw, and then I'll run this and thin it out on the drum sander to get your thin pieces. I'll run it through, I'll put it on top of a board right here to kind of thin it out to get it to my desired thickness so that I actually will fit into the groove right here. But what I'll end up doing is I'll just end up gluing this up in here, and then I'll rough cut this out, usually on the table saw. I'll cut that and then just slice that off and then rerun that through the drum sander, and then I can proceed to making my making my miter cuts for all my other different parts on that. So are there any questions about that at all? Oh, yes.
Use a table saw for something that small and thin?
For making that, just that groove for the kerf on there.
No, I thought you meant you cut that down on the table saw.
Oh, I cut this out on the bandsaw, but you could set up a stop on your table saw and use this as your offcut on there. I would never put something this in between this and your fence to try to cut something out that small in there, but you could set it on the opposite side of the blade and then just constantly move your fence over to create something that small and to kind of rough it out too. So, but that is another way that you could possibly cut out your thin strips like this too. Yes.
After you've rough cut that,
yes,
do you double face tape it to a board then?
No, I haven't felt the need to. I will actually just put it on there, and then I will guide it through there and then just put a little bit of pressure so it stays flat on the board, and then as it's coming out, I will put more pressure on it to help it feed it through. And it seems like the biggest issue is not that it'll actually get into the drum sander and like ruin the piece that you're trying to create. It seems like it just wants to slide when you're doing that. And I'm also not making a very aggressive cut when I'm thinning these out. I'm trying to do this in very, very, very small increments on there. And if you guys were wanting to do this at the guild too, the Shop Fox drum sander would probably be your best bet to try to do something like that versus one of those larger drum sanders that we have. I think that would be a little bit more aggressive than what you would want to do on that. Yes.
What grit are you using on the drum sander?
At home, I think it's like 150 grit. Yeah. So if I remember correctly, so.
Mine, about all the time, I found that 150 burned
Okay.
really quickly.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yes.
It's $20 to repair, replace it.
Yes. So I mean, I I wasn't expecting that question. So what grit I had. So I would have to check it at what I have at home, but I'm sorry about that. So any other questions at the moment? So I'll glue these up, and then I'll run this through the table. I'll after it's glued up, you'll have this sticking out proud right here, and I'll try to leave like an 16th or something. Get it close to there, but not to where you're actually cutting your project. To trim that off, and then I'll go through and then proceed to flush it up with the drum sander. Is what I found has worked best for me. So, but that's about as simple as you can get. That's procedure is done with this table or this lid top too. This was just a little bit more intricate because you had a couple more cuts on that, and we actually I did both of those sides and then went through the whole process of getting it flushed on there, and then I recut those ends and went through and did the whole same thing again too. So yes.
So did you have to do anything to protect the center layer of the base material when you did the second kerf?
No, I mean I went over it with an orbital sander to sand out any.
Okay, but how did you keep? You're creating a fin with 2 tracks on.
Oh,
either
like
side.
you're talking about. Yeah, it was pretty well glued in there, so there wasn't any issues with it tearing out or breaking apart off on that too. I have had tear out running it through on the table saw, and where it's like I just had a bad grain pattern on the specific inlay, and it tore out on me. And I think the correct term is a Dutchman, where I chiseled out the inlay with an 1/8 inch chisel, and was able to put in a new piece and re-glue it, and then was very careful with, and I took a hand plane and planed it off that way instead of trying to run it through the table saw again. So, and that ended up fixing one of the issues I've had. So, all right. Any other questions at the moment? Okay. So that's the easiest possible method that I've come across or that I've used to create inlay. The second set of inlay that I actually tried was this tabletop for the plant stand, and wonder if we can get a nice close up. So, oh, the camera. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So with that one, I'll set that to the side. I used an 1/8 inch router bit, a spiral upcut bit to create the profile on that. And that ended up being it looks a little bit more difficult than it actually is to recreate on there. So what I'll end up doing is to start off with, what I ended up is I created a little pattern on a piece of paper, and I used that to set up my to create my profile. And I used like a random scrap of wood. Once I have everything set up, and actually I should probably show you what I'll do. Okay. So I'll put across, if everybody can see. And when I created this for the first time, I marked this off on the sides. Oh, there we go. So there we go. That's all right. So I would end up marking out and creating so that I can go all the way out to the edge right there, and I'll mark on my stop on my part right there. So I'll have my setup block. High. Actually, let me set up with this one. That works a little better. All right, there we go. So I'll go in and I'll mark my edge right here. All right. And I'll mark both sides on here. And I'll go in and I'll do a plunge right here, and I'll go all the way out to the edge. Can everybody see that? And the line is right there. And then I'll go back across, and you have your line right there too. So the line is right there. And I'll start with my first part to get, and I'll do that all the way around the edges to create that profile. And then it's a simple just readjustment of the fence to create the outer point. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? So I'll go in and I'll readjust for that outer profile. And then I'll mark my sides again here, and then all right. And I'll go in and I'll make sure that I'm right in between both of those lines to create the outer part, the outer portion. On those right there. So we'll have the line right there and there. So it seems a little bit more complicated than it is, but it actually, once you work through the process, it's a little bit easier. So yes, your question.
Can you put that flat on the table and use a pencil and show with the pencil the cuts that you make in the order that you make them?
So are you talking about this cut right here, or
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, with here we grab a pencil. So the cuts, let's see if that's, I don't know if everybody can see that. Okay. All right. So I switch all right. Oh, nope, that's overhead. There we go. Okay. So I'll go in and I'll make this entire line right here with that first setup all across there. And then I'll just repeat all the way on all of those. All the way around. So it'll look like those two corners right there all the way across here. Does that kind of answer a little better? Okay. And then the second setup, once you move the fence, that's where you're creating just both of these right here. And depending on how you orientate it, that's going to create each one of those sides right there. So, and then this is, I don't know if that's after it's been chiseled out, but it will look a little bit more like this right here. So you see how I haven't gone to the line. And I intentionally did that to where, so that I don't like overshoot it. Like I have right here, I overshot it on this test piece, and that's pretty hard to fix. I would have to like increase the inlay, and it's better to just try to undershoot it so that you can kind of clean it up with the chisel and make a nice cut that way. All right. So after you route everything out, then you're going to go, and the time, this takes a little bit more time, is going to be, you're going to be making your, cutting your inlay pieces to length on those and fitting those in place. So this one I've done already, and I've created I should probably go back up over there so that everybody can see. All right. So I put a 45-degree on those, and that is, I rough that out with just a little handsaw, and then I go back to my shooting board to cut those pieces and clean up the edges. So and let me move that over there. But I will take those and just nicely just clean them up on the shooting board till I get my nice 45-degree angle. And it just takes some time. So a little bit of time and a little bit of patience to go through and cut out all those pieces. And I'll keep them proud like that. And then after I've dry fit all of those pieces, so like you can see, there you go. So you can see right here that those are all proud right there. I'll glue them in just like I did with the table saw method. And after they're dry, I'll set it up on edge, and then I will cut it off with the table saw and then proceed to run it through the drum sander again to get it nice and flushed up. So are there any other questions with that?
Rabbit. Is there a reason you're using the rabbit?
This is one I purchased. So this is I don't have a low angle jack plane yet. So, but that's the one I have. So, but yeah, a different plane, like a small block plane, would be probably a little bit better in that situation. But that's the one I have. So that's the one I've been allowed to purchase at this moment. So, and then, yeah, it just takes some time to dry fit all those and get that worked out. I can move on to the last one if there's any other questions with this one at all. Okay. So the last profile is actually quite a bit more difficult with that, because there's going to be actually 3 setups with this one right here. And this is the one I was going to demo for everybody too. Let's see. It'll be the same procedure where I'll have my setup block right here, and I'm going to be going through and I'm going to do those edges all the way around the length on that. So I'll take my block that I've created. Okay, that seems like that fits in there nicely. And actually, let me switch out the tape so I don't get confused on the lines. All right, so I will make my mark for that first. And then I'll switch that over. Okay. All right. And let me get my glasses and hearing protection. All right. Any other questions at this moment? Okay. Yes.
Wouldn't it be better to use light colored tape, pick up your marks easier?
That would be. I don't have any of that. I don't have a problem seeing that though. So, but yeah, if you do have a problem seeing that, then that is a very good suggestion to do. So. Oh yes, the suggestion would be light colored tape. Light colored tape. So that you can see your marks. It is, I will admit, it is very hard to see the black on there. I can pick it up. It might not pick up very well on the camera, but I can see it on there. All right. All right. So. All right. So some of the chips got compounded in there. I don't know if anybody saw that it was jumping on me when I was doing that. So it would work a little bit better if there was dust collection in there. So let me get the last two. That's a little scary. All right. So I have not had that jump that much before, but it is actually created. Yeah. So this is the first time I've done this without dust collection. So usually it sucks out and helps out a lot of that, kind of clean that out. All right. So the second setup on that is going to be creating, let's see, this outer profile right here. Okay. So I will set the fence and change the fence on this.
While you're setting that up, how deep is that kerf?
That kerf, I try to keep it, that's about 1/8 of an inch right now. So I should probably, let's see, I don't have the tool to lower the height, but that would probably help with preventing that moving on me. All right. Okay. Create my line right there. All right, and then I will be, there's 2 lines right here, so I will be going all the way and then getting close to that and close to that on that to create my profile. So, it's right over here. All right, that created that right there. So, all right, I'll do that one more time so I have another example. All right. That set up right there too. Okay. Now, the third setup is going to be connecting those two right here. All right, so, and that is just going to be another adjustment. So we're going to get that out of my way. There we go. So now it moves freely back and forth. I'm going to tighten this down. Okay, and then I'll mark my line here. Okay, and that actually, let me put that right there. And I'm going to put a little dot right there to mark where I need to go into. Okay. All right. Do that. That can just be chiseled out. See if I can get the other one a little bit better. All right. And then I would just go in with a chisel and just kind of get that cleaned out. So I can probably move that camera. Does that look? Oh, let me get a little closer. Oh. All right. So and just get that cleaned out. And just work your way around all the different corners to get those round edges gone. And after you've done that, it's the same procedure for this other one where you're just going to be doing your 45s and then just going around and then completing everything and then just working your way around, get a dry fit, glue it, and then cut it on the table saw and get rid of your scrap and then run it through the drum sander too. So it's just as easy as that. So for the same procedure on that. Are there any other questions? Yes.
I noticed that you're marking the tape.
Yes.
What do you do when you overshoot the tape?
When I overshoot the tape, and I think I overshot the tape. The best thing that I can probably advise everybody on is everybody should have a bunch of like little scraps of wood that are just like this. Practice a bunch of times first. And I think it took me 3 times the first time I did that. But I mean, if you overshoot, it kind of depends on like how much you overshoot. If you overshoot just a little bit, you can try to kind of clean it up with a chisel. But if you've overshot a lot, then you're kind of out of luck on that. You can try again. So, but I highly recommend trying with little scraps of blocks and trying to recreate that profile and practice first and until you feel like you can accomplish it with your actual project on that. So the question was, do I ever use stop blocks? With this specific thing, I don't. I just mark it on there, and that seems to have worked for me. If you wanted to use stop blocks, I don't see any problems with using stop blocks if you needed that additional visual aid, or if you like a lot of our members are a little bit older, if their eyesight isn't as great, then that would be a great alternative to make sure ensuring that you are stopping where you want to stop. So yes,
On those corners there, now you've got on your big long piece, you're going to 45 that.
yes.
Okay. Then what are you going to do on the little piece that comes up and butts up against that 45?
I'm going to do a 45 on that too and I can get very small for those pieces.
Okay.
Yeah. So and it takes patience, and your fingers do occasionally hurt because you're holding something that close to try to achieve that nice 45-degree angle. But I'll go up against the shooting block and just get in there really closely. So you could probably create some sort of holder, might help out too. Or maybe even have put some sandpaper, glue some sandpaper on your angle too to maybe help so that it doesn't slide as much too. That would probably be a good solution too. So yes.
Now I saw something laying there. In one of them, did you put a little square in that
Yes,
middle?
I did. That was my first idea to do that, and then I changed my mind. I didn't really like the look of that, but I just used a hollow chisel mortiser on that to create that right there. And on my final project, I decided against it after I tested it out. So, but yeah, that's definitely an option too. So, yeah. Yes. Oh.
It doesn't look like you're too worried about the flute on the bit. Is that a spiral bit?
Yes, that is a spiral
Okay.
bit. So yeah, and I was having a lot more trouble. Like it's moved and jumped on me quite a bit on there, and you could possibly lower the height of the bit, and then not having dust collection right here with this specific setup, that's definitely affected and caused some of that to compound in there. But this is just a test piece for fun. So, and out of some scrap that I made. So, yeah. Any other questions? So, well, I think this might have been my. Oh yes. Yes.
Are you making your own inlay pieces on the table saw?
I have made them on the table saw before, but I like to rough them out on the bandsaw, is what I found, and I get a little bit better yield on that too. I'll take in, so like a piece like this right here, I'll actually rip it down on the bandsaw so I can get, double the amount of inlay for that, and I'll get it toward closer to this side. So like these have all been ripped down from that initial piece. So, and I'll look through my all my offcuts, because everybody has lots of thin strips that that usually just go in the trash or get burnt or something like that. But that's great source of material for your inlay too. Or if you have some really warped boards that you can't really figure out what to do with, and maybe there's some some slight straight pieces in there, I've ripped those down on the bandsaw and got some really nice inlay pieces out of that too. So where you have a lot more flexibility and ability to recoup some of that lumber that would have just gone to waste. So yes.
Given that most basic hardwoods are darker, I take it that your inlay would be lighter. So do you have a preference for lighter inlay wood?
I try to just the question is most of your hardwoods are darker. So I try to just mix and match what I think will look good on there. So like that is a cherry inlay with walnut on there, and I realized afterwards that probably in like 50 years that's gonna start to blend together. But it looks great now. And so I've moved from like the cherry inlay on walnut to like using maple inlay on walnut, and I'll just try to mix light and dark, whether I have a dark tabletop or whatever, and I'll try to use a light inlay, and then vice versa. So like these two are mirror images of each other. So I have white oak with walnut inlay, and then I have a walnut frame with white oak inlay. So I just try to mix it out. So try to highlight it as much as I possibly can. So yes.
Going along on the color thing, then, do you stain before gluing, before putting them together, so that you'd have different stains?
No, I haven't gotten to do that at all. To be honest, I haven't had a lot of luck with stains. I'm still like learning in that department. I tend to just choose the lumber that for the look that I'm going for, and then I use a simple top coat, or I'll put a Danish oil and then a top coat on that. So, and I usually use oil-based polyurethane, but that's just what I've had a lot of experience with. So, and I haven't like spread out, and that's one of the things that I want to do in the future, but I haven't had the chance to do that yet. So any other questions? All right. Well, I think that this is about all that I have to talk about. I appreciate everybody coming out. This was my first skill builder, and I hope it went okay, and I hope you guys had fun. Thank you very much. I had fun in trying to set this up, and hopefully I do one in the future. So, all right, that's it. All right, thank you very much. Thanks. All right.
This has been a production of the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. A special thank you to our guest today, to the Guild's Leadership Committee, and to all of our sponsors. For more information about the Guild, upcoming classes, and events, please visit our website kcwg.org. You can also find us on social media by searching for Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. If you like this video, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. For more videos, please check out our YouTube channel.